Flosstube. Welcome back. You found Alll the Stitches. My name is Laura and we are on Flosstube number 17. If you're new, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you found me. And if you're an oldie but goodie, I'm so glad you've come back. I'm excited to talk stitchy goodness with you. My video is a little earlier than I anticipated it being. Life is leading its own course. It's looking at my plans and laughing at them pretty much. So I am actually, my doctor's rescheduled my surgery for this coming Wednesday. So I will be down for the count. Is that how they put it? Down for the count. On the day I had originally planned on doing my next video. So here I am. I wanted to make sure I snuck it in before the surgery so that I would be able to show you what I've stitched while I'm down. I had the thought, I was like, oh, I could just put it off. Like, there's no pressure. We could just meet mid-July. But I thought it would be kind of fun to give you guys a preview of what I'll be stitching as soon as July 1st hits, my stitching plans shift over to ScFi July. And so I have some fun old whips that are coming out, and then I have some new starts. And so I kind of wanted to give you the skinny on what's going to be happening. Because I've been excited about this for months. So anyways, I didn't want to wait until halfway through the month before jumping into that. Plus, I have things to show you, so it'll be good. It's good to be here. Yeah, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, okay. So let's jump into my stuff I did. I actually have a finish, and amazingly enough, in the last 12 hours since I finished it, I have tucked away my pattern somewhere. It is MIA. I can't find it. I'm sure it's just down in my cubby somewhere or on my shelf, or, you know, slipped in between two things and I didn't see it. But anyways, this is Summer in Nantucket by Plum Street Samplers, and I had pulled it out in May to work on it as part of Mania. I had started it actually in the 2019 Mania, Stitch Mania, which I think back then it was actually still like a real thing. But I had not completed it, obviously. So I pulled it out again in May and got to that point where I just needed, you know, it's just so few details. The lighthouse, the mermaid, the house, or the boathouse really, and a couple little extra details sprinkled through. I was so close, I was like, okay, this is going to be a finish this year. This is going to happen. And sure enough, the mood hit me, and it just happened. I kind of cast aside my soft plans that I had written into my book of days, which, oh, here it is. And, you okay, baby? My dog is back there. And big noises. She is pretty reactive too, but, oh yeah, she settled right back down. Anyways, I'm so happy with it. I stitched it on what I believe is an 18 count Aida, and it is 2 threads, 2/1. Is that how you'd say it with Aida? And then I stitched from stash because 2019 I was still new in collecting my supplies and didn't have the stash that I do now, and so I didn't have most of the called for colors, but I had done some projects with overdyes, and so I did have some, and I just I made it as close to the original picture as I could while not having to go out and buy anything. So there she is. I love it. It's so cute, and it's small enough that it will fit in a 5x7 frame, and I actually already have one, so I have to run out tomorrow. I think it will probably be at this point. And do a couple of quick errands. I have to go to like the post office, you know, thrilling things like that. Return something before Wednesday, and I want to get some board to mount it on so that I can get it in the frame, because it's seasonally appropriate for the next little bit, and it would be fun to have it up on my mantle. Anyways, yay for a finish. I'm very excited. Okay, so let's just dive into my stitching next. That is this one. Okay, so this next one is just the first thing that came to hand. I've got extra floss. It is called, sorry for the plastic, not all of my projects are in real project bags at this point. So, Hello Summer, which I started this May, and it's by Plum Street Samplers. Oh, just realized. That's okay. Anyways, in May I got to here, which is a large portion of the green vines. It turns out it was not all of it. There's a swirl that comes up here, and there were a couple more leaves. So when I did, oh my goodness, I even got floss still on this. Which way does it go? Oh, I'm looking at it the right way. Okay, it goes like this. All right, so this is where I got that little bit is the chest and part of the leg of the eagle, a couple of berries, and I finished all of the vines before the rest of the vines came out down from the eagle's area. And so I didn't want to count into the nether sphere here because it is official. I can't count. Apparently. And you will see why in later projects. Anyways, so yeah, I'm happy with it. I wanted to get the little watermelon done, but some of my stitchy days in the last week have been, let's see, it's been about a week and a half. Almost 2 weeks since we met last, and some of my stitchy days have been more limited than others. So this was one of my more limited days, but I'm still happy with my progress. I'm stitching this on, oh, I believe it is, oh, see if my memory can remember, because I can't find my card in the little bag. That's what I was looking for. I think it's Outrageous by Fortnight Fabrics? No, it doesn't seem right. I will put it below. I'll put it below. I'm stitching a couple of different projects on this. I was able to split the quarter into multiple projects, and that's been really fun because it's gorgeous, gorgeous fabric, and it's lovely to stitch on as well. Anyways, I know the color is Outrageous. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. There. All right, next one to hand is, oh, this was my Sunday stitch this month. Other than yesterday, I did not stitch on it yesterday. Actually, I put like 5 stitches in to one project yesterday. All right, so this is called Sampler Hill by Brenda Gervais, and I love this piece. It's so beautiful. Oh, I love it. I am stitching it. Let's see, here's my card. On Mayflower linen, which it was the consensus that this was probably fox and rabbit, I think, is what everybody was kind of saying they thought it was. But it's 32 count Mayflower. And I started, this was a Mania start, and it was so lovely to work on that I wanted to keep working on it. And I had most of that border done. 3/4 of it, it looks like. And that beehive up at the top. Let's get the real thing out because it's prettier in person. I didn't press anything this week, you guys. Sorry. Life is kind of in a weird place right now. But the border is complete. It matched, which is remarkable. I added in 2 little pooches, and I love this spattering of bees floating around. They are so sweet. And then some of the flowers. I had to get some of the flowers into the border just to see what it will be like. Anyways, I am still loving this. The colors are so fresh, but there's a warmth to them that it's just very, very nice to work on. Something comforting about it. Yeah. So that's where that is. Sampler Hill. Beautiful, beautiful. Makes me want to work on it today. I haven't actually done any stitching yet today. It's later afternoon here as I'm filming, and honestly, day's kind of gotten away from me. It's been very productive though. Very productive, so that's a good thing. Okay, next we're gonna look at The Visitor by the Blackberry Rabbit, which I am stitching along with Lisa of Lost in Stitches. She just had a major surgery, much bigger than mine. So keep her in your thoughts, if you will. And I think that the Blackberry Rabbit has changed the name of their pattern company, but I know I've heard people say that it's something else now, but I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. Anyways, I love this pattern. I'd started it earlier this year, and when Lisa reached out and said, hey, do you want to stitch it together? I was like, heck yeah. So we just started a very casual stitch along. So you can join whenever you want to, and just use this hashtag #TheVisitorSal, and we'll be able to see your progress and root each other along. I added in the deeper colors on the neck and chest in my last stitchy session with this. So, and I'm stitching on, I do have the information here, 32 count Picture This Plus linen in the color Glory. I love it. I can hardly wait to get into the bee-skep. It'll make him look a little less off-center. Okay. Okay, so my next one is, ooh, a little bubble in my throat here. Nora Corbett, Floral Dream. I love it. My Naked Garden lady. And I was doing pretty good on her. When I showed you guys last, I'd started the other side of her and completed her head and upper torso. Fingers, there we go. So that's where we were on this notoriously difficult to showcase linen. And here's where she sits, wrinkles and all. So I have started to fill in the background, really, of her dress or her blanket, whatever she's holding. It's got these big blooms on it, and the background is a beautiful water lily silk, so it's lovely to stitch. I think that is the final outside, because I was working my way down, so I wouldn't have left. Yeah, that's pretty much the outline of how it will be at this point. So now I've got there's a couple little flower colors. This pattern is funny because there's actually a lot of colors in it, but sometimes you're doing 3 stitches of a color in a spot. So there's quite a bit of jumping around. It doesn't move quite as quickly as I thought it would. Not that I'm in a rush or anything, or that I don't enjoy it taking a little bit longer, but I kind of thought when I got this, I was like, oh my goodness, I'll be done with this in a couple of months. And maybe if it was the only thing I worked on, that would be the case, but no, we have a plethora of projects. So I still have to do the puddle of blanket down below her and then fill in some of the flower spots. And then we'll be ready to backstitch and bead. So making good progress. I only gave her 1 day though, since we met last. So she didn't get oodles of progress yet. Especially since I abandoned plans and finished Summer in Nantucket. Okay, this next one is apparently my husband's favorite. He came home. It's Leave Nothing But Footprints by Emma Condon. And that is in, oh, I should have showed you this. It's in a book. Let me pull it out of my project bag here. So it's in Cross Stitch for the Earth, which you can see I have many plans for. But my father-in-law gave me this for my birthday last year. And so I knew I wanted to stitch something out of it in the new year. And this is the one I chose. It's so pretty. And apparently, as I started to say, it's my husband's favorite. I posted it on Instagram and he came home and he was like, did you see that I liked your post? That one project. I really like it. So that's where I was. Leave Nothing, a little bit of extra stuff. And I added in, I finished off the bird's nest, which just had a little bit of fill-in to do. And then I did this branch and the bee up at the top. So that's the top of the design. Backstitching and all. He's so cute. This was one of those moments when I couldn't count. The first wing went in so smoothly. The second wing I pulled out 3 times because I kept missing a chunk and then it wasn't symmetrical and that wasn't going to work. This is a very symmetrical design, so it's one of the few that you'll see on future projects I couldn't count on that I'm just going to fudge them, or I already have. And this is one that it's too even, too symmetrical from side to side to fudge it. So pull it out I did. I was a good girl, and yeah, that's where I got to. I'm really excited to start into the trees around everything. It'll start to come alive. I'm stitching this on Bestitch Me Lugana. Oh yes, it was one of my fabric of the month fabrics, and it's called Ledger. It's a 28 count, and I am completely in love with Bestitch Me. My friend Jill got me into doing the fabric of the month. I'd never done one before. What was it, April or May this year that I got my first? Whew, starting to get warm. Should we put the hair up? I'll just pull it back. Anyways, April or May when I started getting them, or I'd signed up for it. And oh my, I'm quite delighted to get a beautiful piece of fabric in the mail every month. They're always beautiful. All right, we'll save that one for later. Okay, this next one is barely worth showing, but I stitched on it, so we're gonna show it. All right. Let's see, I've got to slide it out low because the leaflet was bent the other way, so you can see the pattern. This is Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs. And I started this for Stitch Mania. So I started in May. And I didn't get super far, but I firmly established the house. That's where I was. And on this one, I am using the Call for Colors on tea-dyed Ada. I think it's an 18 count. So I started into the house, and then you can see that I've started pulling out part of the house because I can't count. And the roof was one stitch too big, but I wasn't about to pull all of that stitching out just for one stitch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scoot this over. Nobody will even know once it's done. The innards of the house are accurate, so if I just scoot this over one stitch, then everything will come together, and I'll just have to accommodate my adjustments as I go. So yeah, it's pretty. I love the warmth of the tea dyeing for the background on this. I'm excited to get some of the other colors on it to it, because when I did the floss toss, it was pretty rewarding to see all those pretty greens and different colors on that color. So it'll all come together really pretty. Okie dokie. Oh, yes. I don't think I put a picture of this in there. Nope. Okay. I don't have a before picture. That's okay, because I didn't really do a lot. And there's no main picture for this one because it's a block of the month, stitch along. Mystery Stitch Along by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And so we don't know everything it's gonna be yet. But last time you saw it, I had the flagpole and the bunting and the knight with the unicorn done. So I added in the page here, who's so cute. I love the little music notes. My unicorn is flying. There's supposed to be a line of gray stitching in part 1 that comes through, and I haven't done it yet. It turns out it's the top of a stone bridge. That's the next portion that they released just a few days ago. And I'm gonna go back, and I'm not gonna rip out my whole knight and unicorn. Nope. We're just gonna make his legs a little bit longer. 1 stitch longer on each leg. So he won't be levitating above the bridge. I mean, but unicorns are magical. Anything's possible in a fantasy world. Anyways, so cute. Love this design so far. The bridge wasn't the most exciting release. There is also a wizard on it. If you look it up on Instagram, people are super speedy stitchers and they're already done with the second part. So you can see everything that's been released so far, and it's adorable. I am just, I don't know, I'm just not a super speedy stitcher, or rather, I just have a lot of directions my attention is going. Okay. Yes, let's do this one next. This is another stitch along. You've probably seen it. It's out there. It's the Greenhouse of Oddities by, oh my gosh, LoLaCrow Stitch, I think. Let me find my pattern here. LoLaCrow. I've got all these different designers swirling in my brain. LoLaCrow. Anyways, this is where I was. I had finished most of part 2 and all of part 2. This is where I was. I'd finished all of a couple parts and part of another one, and I still have a lot of work to do on the greenhouse frame. But I figured I could just kind of fill in as I go. And here I'll show you what I did. It was going so swimmingly for a hot minute. And it's bigger than my little board, so let's see how I can drape it for you. There we go, string and all, because I literally abandoned it mid-stitch when I found my error. So, this is the top of a well, and I think this is a plant that will be there, and there's some stonework that goes in here. And this is the beginning of the skirt of our artist, and it's hard to see from the picture, but my frame is not going to match up with my frame down here. It's off by 1 stitch. And I had noticed as I was stitching this area that I was shy a stitch. It was too narrow for what the design called for the space I needed for the design. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out where I had gone wrong. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna fudge it. So I did. I started fudging through here, and you can't even tell. You'd never know. But it turns out that it's a rather important moment where this long beam defines the space. And so it's not narrow. I think it's, well, let me look. Yes, it is. It is narrow. So this one is 1 stitch further this direction than down here, which explains the squishing that had to happen down below. Anyways, it completely stopped me. I'm gonna fudge it somehow, but I need to find a way to make it look pretty. It's difficult where you don't know, where it is a mystery stitch along. You don't know what's going to be coming into here, or I think this area is pretty well established as far as the woman standing there with her artist board, but this side I don't know. So I'd had the thought, well, just make it 1 stitch thicker, but then it won't look the same as this one. Maybe just, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But there's a part of me that almost wants to put it on hold until we get some of the elements that are in here so that I can fudge it with the greater picture in mind. So, I mean, in the meantime, I could continue to work on, since I'm not going to rip it all out. I mean, I would have to, hundreds of stitches down in here. I just can't bring myself to do it, to put everything in the right spot. Anyways, once it's done, nobody will know. But right now, you guys get to know my stitchy trauma. Anyway, since I'm not going to adjust it, I could start to put in this upper frame and fill out that, because that's not going to change. And may even be correct. I suspect that it's somewhere, well, no, but I double checked those. All of these lined up. So I don't know what I did. I just did something wrong. Anyways, it is what it is. I still love the little owl. Actually, I love all of it still. It's so beautiful. This is on a 28 count even weave that I dyed myself. And just like my other green, it doesn't photograph super well. It's a bit, it shows very gray in the camera. And it's not gray, but it's beautiful. I love it. Inability to count and all. One of these days I'll come to you guys and I'll be like, everything went along like a song. My stitches are perfect. My projects are wonderful. And you'll be like, who is that stranger? And where is the Laura we know who is chaos and miscounting? Okay. Oof, I am going to put my hair up here. Excuse me using the camera like a mirror for just a minute. That's better. Oh, man. Okay, good enough. So the last 3 projects I worked on are new starts. So, I mean, you finish something, you've got to start something, right? Or maybe 3 somethings. One of them was, no, 2 of them were actually planned. The extra was potentially going to wait till August, and then I just didn't want to wait. So I don't need my, excuse me. Get my tablet on the right picture here. Oof, it won't rotate. Oh, technology. Okay, well, that is just not acceptable. Here we go. So the first one, let's talk about, nope, let's do this one first. I've got an order in my head. It'll be good. So the first one I had mentioned in my last video, I found fabric for it. It's the Garden Sampler by Carriage House Samplings. And I saw, I think the first person I saw stitching it, or she had completed it rather, was Lindy Stitches. And then I saw the New Hampshire Stitcher were planning to start it. And she's doing it on, she has actually started it. She's gone clear down almost to F on this first side of the vine, and she's doing it on this soft sky blue. It is so beautiful and fresh and springy, and I couldn't find the right blue for it, but that's okay because I chose this gray that I will, no, I chose something else that had been in line for my, I'd thought about doing, here's where I got to. I had thought about doing words. I had, for the 3rd time, thought about doing my summer sampler on this that I'm going to be stitching along with Samantha the Hugo Stitcher for her birthday stitch. But then I found a different piece that I actually like better. So this got demoted and I cut a length off of it because this is quite a long piece, and so it's kind of funky if you do a certain count. This is a 28 count. It needs to be quite long. So, and I had a couple other things, but they were just long enough. And in fact, one of them that I actually really liked the floss toss on, I would have had to shorten the ground at the bottom to make it fit appropriately and have any chance of even a soft finish or anything like that. Anyways, using this made it so I could just do it the way it's charted out, and this one's so fun to stitch on. I mean, all I've done really is green and a little bit of the acorn, but it's so lovely. It's a really nice, it's a Bestitch Me Lunar, I think. Yes, 27 count, even weave. And it is lovely to stitch on. It's really nice, and something about this is just, at least so far, and I feel like I should knock on wood before saying this, given my track record recently, but it's easy. It's easy to stitch. It's comfortable stitching, so that's really nice, and I'm really enjoying it. It feels very, I don't know, it's just nice. It's a nice stitch. It's a pretty pattern, and I'm enjoying it. It'll be really fun to get some more colors on there. I finally found some black. I was out of black, and so I couldn't do any of the letters. And I finally found some, so I can start adding in some of those details now, which will be really fun. It'll add a lot of sparkle to it. Okay. This is the one that is a finish one, start one kind of situation. You've probably seen this around. It's Seaside Tiny Town by Heart and Hand, and they have this whole series of little village scenes, and I've seen them. I've seen people working on them. I really loved I think it was a market release, their Sunflower. Oh, they have it on the back. Sunflower Tiny Town. It's called The Honey of a Tiny Town. And being as into bees and sunflowers and such as I have been this year, This one caught my attention, but this one, the lighthouse and the pelican and these cute little seagulls. It's so cute. It's just so cute. So when I finished Nantucket's Summer in Nantucket, I had this one, and I started it. And I'm stitching it on this measly little tiny piece of linen, which is so long and skinny. Got one whole house done. Very impressive, I know. It's a 28 count even weave. I think it's Picture This plus sand. And I feel like it is a bit smaller than 28 count. I'm stitching it 2/2, so my stitches are 14 count. But like I said, I think it's a little bit smaller than that. The Picture This plus seems to shrink down quite tight, especially on their even weaves. Anyways, it's sand, and I had a quarter, and because I'm cutting it down small, I'll either do a flat finish or a soft finish like I've done on some of my others on the walls. And either way, because it's such a small little stitch, I've got enough extra to finish it out. So I actually got enough to be able to do 2, 4, 6. Is that right? 2, 4, 6. I can't count. Yes. 6 out of a quarter yard. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to stitch most, if not all, of the series as the whim hits me. But I've got them all cut and edged, and I actually only cut I divided it into 3 pieces, and I wasn't sure. I was like, oh my goodness, is it actually going to be enough? I'd done the math, and I thought, oh yeah, it'll work. The math says it'll work, but I didn't really trust the math until I started stitching. And sure enough, that's the full height of the stitch, and so it will be enough fabric to be able to do that. So that'll be fun. I've got a whole series of projects ahead of me, and they are, I mean, I did that in an evening. It's just quick and easy. I'm excited about it. All right, scoot that over. And okay, last but not least, I worked on my first chatelaine, and it was an adventure, let me tell you. So this is the one I've chosen. I was gifted the pattern by my friend Beth. Hi, Beth. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I'm doing a combination of the called for silks and a DMC conversion. Ooh, itchy nose. And it's all in this big bag. But as I started stitching, I ran into a bit of a conundrum, because I was super excited. I pulled all my stuff out and I started to stitch, and lo and behold, my fabric smells like fish. Has anybody ever had their fabric smell like fish before? Am I alone in this? It's not lovely. This is how far I got. I had stitched, luckily I'm just working on the center with DMC, so I could do what I did to it. I had stitched the roof line and half of the tree before I had a rip-roaring headache because of the odor coming off of this fabric. And this is like a half yard of fabric. It's not a small piece. It is Picture This plus an even weave, but this is also, the tiny series is also Picture This plus even weave, and it just smells like fabric. There's no odor to it whatsoever. But this one is quite pungent. I've never had that happen before. I love the color. I think it will set off the colors of the stitching really lovely if I can get it to not smell. So what I did a little bit of research, and they were talking about it being formaldehyde, and I was like, I highly doubt formaldehyde was used in the dyeing process of the hand-dyed cross-stitch fabric, but regardless, my fabric still smells like fish. and so what they said was soak it in baking soda water overnight, and then that should pull the odor out. So I did. I figured, okay, it's already been through a dyeing process. Baking soda is pretty mild. It shouldn't hurt it at all. And I made it a nice little bath, heavy on the baking soda, and let it sit overnight. And then I air dried it in the morning. Just hung it over my curtain rod. And it's better than it was. Some parts of it are really better. But then some parts of it are really quite still. So it might need one more soak to get it all the way out. I did go in last night and complete the tree and add in this little section over here. So I was able to stitch a little bit on it, but I could still smell the fish. So it's still a bit of a unfortunate situation. It's in progress though. I'm excited to work on the project. I don't really want to abandon it. So I think I will do another soak and let it air dry again, and we'll see if that doesn't pull the rest of the odor out of it. Ugh, yuck. Let me know if you've had that happen to you before. And if so, what did you do to resolve the issue? Because it's been a bit of a disappointing situation. I would have put a lot more time into it. The enthusiasm is there, but I don't even close this bag all the way because I'm worried about the smell getting like caught in the bag. And I wound up putting all of my silks into their own little baggies so that the smell wouldn't leach into the silk. Plus it'll just protect them as I use them. Anyways, I'm doing what I can. But my mom said I should call or write into 123 Stitch where I ordered the fabric from and complain. And if I can't get this sent out, I hate to be that person, but I might do that. Okay, that's all my stitching. That's what I worked on, which is, quite a variety of projects as per usual, but not as many as May held. So that was nice too. As fun as Mania is, it's always nice to kind of step back and be like, okay, we'll go back into my normal 7 projects a month kind of routine. Okay, I went to put my cup down and I clicked the mouse and stopped my video because I'm special like that. Anyways, I was saying it's a bit of a comfort zone to just have my set number of projects and kind of settle back into that felt good. New starts aside. Okay, so that was everything I did. I have a little bit of haul, not a lot. I did get a linen from Picture This Plus called Valor, which is so gorgeous. This kind of dirty sage green with brown and gray undertones. It's absolutely beautiful in person. And I have thought, I originally bought it thinking, oh, I could put one of my Owl Forest embroideries on there, like the 100 Owls or like the Swamp maybe. I bought the Swamp earlier this year and as one of their digital patterns. Oh, it's called, oh yeah, I said that, Valor. 28 count linen. But I was watching, and let me find my notes here so I say the right person. I was watching Beth from Morvant Made, who I was going to say for the shout outs, but this is the right moment to say it. And she was working on Witchy Stitchers' Stephen King house, which is actually, I read in the words on the pattern, modeled after his house in Bangor, Maine. And then of course it's a fandom stitch of different Stephen King stories. And there are quite a few stories. Like it's more than just, there's like 4 windows, right? It's a lot more than 4 movies are referenced in there. So my husband is a huge Stephen King fan. In fact, when we first got married, Stephen King was the only thing I could actually get him to read. He's a much more diverse reader at this point, but I've been a good influence on him. Anyways, when I saw her working on this, I mean, that roofline, that is intimidating. That is a lot of stitching, but he's worth it. Anyways, I thought instantly, oh my goodness, my hubby needs that in his room, so his office. So maybe I'll put it on this. It might be a little too green though. I kind of like, they have like a brown gray taupey color in the background, and I might try to find something more like that. I couldn't find anywhere they actually listed the fabric they used in the pattern, but I'm sure that with a little bit of digging on the interwebs, I can find it. Anyway, so that's part of my haul. The pretty green fabric is part of my haul. And then I have, this one, Blossom by Mirabilia. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. I've watched her for a couple of years, and finally I saw somebody's work on Facebook, I think it was. I'm in a couple of different Mirabilia groups, and it was so beautiful that I was like, okay, it's time. I need this one in my collection. I have a piece of fabric on order from Stephanie. I don't remember. Anyways, but it will probably be the end of July before it ships. They had quite a delay between ordering and the receiving of your product, which is totally fine. I'm not in a hurry. I've got plenty going on. If it was early August, that wouldn't matter either. Then the other two, I had a couple questions about. I kind of alluded to the fact that I'd chosen a birthday stitch in my last video, so I had a couple questions about that, and I, rather than type a bunch of words, I thought I'd just show you what I'm vacillating between 2 different projects. They're both Mirabilias because I don't know, it just worked. So this is Nora Corbett is the same as designer as Mirabilia. She designs all of the Mirabilias anyways also. But the Nora Corbett's are usually a smaller scale project. So that's what I've done for my this year's birthday, or I should say last year's. Time is confusing. Last year's birthday stitch was Virgo. I still have to do the beads, but I have all of the stitching done. Anyways, this is Lavender. I think she's beautiful. She's beautiful. And I love how her silhouette shows through her wings as though they're transparent. And I had a piece off of what I used for Virgo remaining. So it's Belfast linen color lilac. And I did a floss pull for it. And I think it would be lovely on that. So I don't have any beads or fancy floss. It requires 3 different beads and 4 different Krynics. And I haven't purchased any of those for either of the 2 projects I'm auditioning, just because I haven't fully decided. I'm going to stitch them both, but I don't know which one will formally be my birthday stitch. I think she is so beautiful and she would stitch up super quick, especially with only like 3 beads. I mean, there's more than 3 beads stitched on her, obviously, but 3 different colors of beads. Anyways, I think she would be an easy birthday stitch. So she's one of them, Lavender. And the other, I'm quite pleased with. She's upside down. September Sapphire Fairy. And she is gorgeous. She's got these beautiful butterflies, one in her hand and some in the basket, and or cage rather. Her skirt is just gorgeous, and I love the nod to a more kimono Asian kind of outfit. I think she's absolutely beautiful. She's so elegant. I saw her stitched up, it's got to be a couple years ago now, on Facebook, and she was just absolutely gorgeous. When is this pattern from? Yeah, it doesn't say. It doesn't matter. Oh, 2011. Yeah, it's not a new chart. But she is, I mean, she's smaller than some of the other fancy ladies, like the Nightingale is one of the more recent ones, or Princess Eliana, who has this amazing dress that just goes for days. And but she is going to be bigger than Lavender would be. So here's the fabric and floss pull. I'm only missing a few colors. Okay, so the fabric is actually the other side of what I'm stitching my swans on, the cottage garden swans. It's spectacular fabric, and I actually tested this out on I think I did a floss toss between 5 different fabrics, and this is called the Witching Hour, and it is where my heart landed. It's dynamic, it's a bit dramatic, but I have one fancy floss, one silk. I think this one only calls for one silk, and then just the one. And then I have the DMC, and then there's some blending filaments and stuff too, but I think she'll be quite amazing on this. I wish you could see it in person. My son is, of course, going behind the trees at this point, but oh, it's so beautiful. Anyway, so it's one of these two. It's either her, September Sapphire Fairy, which sounds very birthday stitch for a birthday in September, or Lavender, who is so pretty and would stitch up quickly. I don't know, but it will be one of those two. So that's where my brain's going for birthday stitches. I've still got 2 months to decide, so there's time, oodles of time. Yeah. So let me look at my notes. Gotta stick with my notes here. Okay, so that's my haul, my birthday plans. I mean, like I said, there's not a ton. But there's some goodies in there. And then let's do a real quick run through of my July bucket. So I've got my projects all ready to go. They are all sci-fi themed, and it's been an interesting, oh, that was weird. It's been an interesting my brain just died, sorry. It's been an interesting process. I had some projects that I had already started, they were whips and they were easy to pull, but I wanted more than just 3 or 4 projects for the month, because that's how I am. And so I did some searching the first few months of the year, knowing that I wanted July to be kind of dedicated to sci-fi theme. And so I was able to find a couple of fun projects. Let me do this real quick here. Okay. And one of them, I don't have a picture printed, so I just pulled this up. Everybody will know what it is, but oh my goodness, no thank you. Okay, so we'll just run through them real quick. I'll start stitching them on July 1st, and I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. Normally, when I lay out my plans in my book of days, normally this year, I kind of assign projects to a day. And They usually get 1 to 3 days a month, depending on my enthusiasm for them, and let's be honest, how close they are to being done. Because if there's no finish in sight, I'll just give them whatever I want to give them. But if there's a finish that's kind of close, I might give them an extra day or two just to try to get that finish in. But this month I'm not going to do that. This month I am going to try something different, and I have it all lined up. So I've got my projects. There are 8 total, 4 new and 4 whips. And I'm going to give each project 3 days. They're assigned their days, but the days are clumped together instead of being scattered through the month, which I don't normally stitch like that. But I feel like that could be a really solid way to make progress and just keep the momentum on something. So I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll see how it goes, and if I love it, I might continue it through August. Who knows? Anything is possible. So I have 8 projects, 3 days each. It's 24 days. Did I do that math right? 8 times 3 is 24. Yeah. Why am I questioning that? Yes. Which leaves about 7 extra days for the month. So that final week of the month, I am going to do Christmas in July for that 1 week. And I've picked out 2 projects, which will also get, well, the first one will get 3 days, and the second one will get the final 4 days of the month. And I'm actually going to do the same thing as long as I'm sure I'll be back up to normal by then. By the end of the month, I'm going to be climbing mountains and jumping out of planes. That's what I'm saying. Surgery is going to be the magic cure for the sedentary lifestyle that I have assumed over the last month. But I'm also going to, that last week, I have a Christmas quilt that I've started last fall, and I will work on that instead of my other quilts for the last week of July. So it will be a full week of Christmas in July in all of my projects, which will be kind of fun. I've not done Christmas in July before. I'm usually a very seasonal stitcher, and it'll be kind of fun to break my own rules. Okay, so let's show you my projects really quickly, and then I have a couple of shout outs to do, and then I'll let you go. So the first one I don't have a picture for. I got it off of Etsy, and it's just the other side of this paper is just the chart. So I didn't print out the original, or the picture, I should say. But it's called I Want to Believe by Randomly Generated. It's Etsy. It was not an expensive pattern, and it's not a big pattern, but it's based off of the I Want to Believe poster. So it's got the line of trees, it's got the words, it's got the spaceship. It's very simple. And I'll be stitching it on a scrap of Picture This Plus fawn. And it's a linen, not a lugan. And here's the colors. It's gonna be good. Felt very like antique-y poster, don't you think? Yeah. And it seemed like such an appropriate kickoff to ScFi July because it's a nod to one of my favorite shows. I grew up listening to the music as I went to sleep, as my mom would watch it, X-Files. And I debated where this is kind of my launch for ScFi July. Should I talk about the movies and the books and the things that I like, the sci-fi genre that I really like, and where I've tacked on this preview to a normal video. I'm not going to do that. We're going to save that for my mid-July video, but I have a stack of books over here that some of them are my favorites. Some of them are my husband's books. And a couple of them I haven't read yet. They're in my to be read stack. So, but they're all sci-fi and they're all very different. The sci-fi genre is vast and diverse, and everything from things that almost feel like fantasy to creature features and aliens. And I mean, it's amazing what they clump into sci-fi, science fiction. So, so yeah, that'll be really fun to kind of do. Next episode will kind of be a special episode where it's all sci-fi. So that'll be really fun. I'm excited for it. The next project will be a new start. Cross stitch pattern by Una Buena Pieza. UFO and rabbit. It is so cute. It's like, how can you take sci-fi and make it as cute as a button? Well, that's how. I have a piece of 18 count Ada that was just in my scrap bucket, and I've got all the floss pulled for it. So that'll be really fun to start. It's so sweet. Just look at him, little guy. In that big forest of mushrooms and trees. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to put it back in the bag. It doesn't want to go. Okay. Next one is by Stitch. All of these I got off of Etsy, so they could be found on Etsy. And they're all current patterns. They've been purchased within the last year or two. Stitch by Stitch, Star Trek. Sorry for the glare there. It is charted as a complete full coverage. I don't want to do years and years of navy blue, so I dyed a piece of Ada to look like a galaxy. Ah, it's so pretty. And then I'll just stitch the words and the Star Trek symbol, and then all of these little planets and nebulas and stuff onto it. It'll be really fun, and it will stitch so much quicker without having to do oodles and oodles of background. So that will be fun. I've got 3 Star Trek ones because I'm a big Trekkie fan, Star Trek fan. We just got into the 6th season of Next Gen. I've been watching it with my husband. He was a Star Trek virgin when we got married, and he loves Star Trek so much now that he has actually dressed up as Spock a couple times for Halloween. So, again, I'm a good influence. Let's cuddle and watch Star Trek. Again, oodles and oodles of backstitching. It's a full coverage chart from Stitch by Stitch. And I received the excellent advice to just buy a red fabric and stitch the words. Make it so. It's all ready to go. It's picture this plus Phoenix cashel linen. It'll be perfect. So that one will be fun. So, well, it'll be fun to have done. And stitching words with white isn't going to be particularly stimulating, but it'll still be fun. Let's do my last Star Trek before we jump into the next one. So, the last Star Trek is actually a whip. I want to have a cute needle minder on it. Things you buy. This is by Happy Sloth Cross Stitch. It's called The Captains, which I just love this one. It's so good. And I have a start on it. I just have Kirk most of the way done. And I'm doing it on, it's just a white even weave. Nothing fancy. But this one I actually liked. I didn't feel like adding a fancy fabric or anything to this one. I just liked the clean poster-like quality to it. Anyway, it'll be fun to pull this one back out. It's been a day or two since I worked on it. Oh my goodness, I've got magnets kissing other magnets. Stop. Okay, this one you guys have seen a couple times this year already because I started it this year. It's not the Mandalorian yet. I think that's what it's called. Not the Magister yet, excuse me. Not the Mandalorian yet. I grew up watching Star Wars, the originals, and I'm just this year diving into some of the extra spin-offs and, you know, deeper lore, if you will, of Star Wars. So it's been super fun, and this is such a pretty project. I'm stitching it on mystery fabric. It's not actually mystery fabric. I have the information somewhere. But, oh, there's the back. Where's my board? Oh, under the stack. There we go. There we go. I had to, this one was one of those projects where I proved I couldn't count and I had to pull out, you know, most of what I'd stitched, and it's since then been restitched, but all I've done is the boring purples and browns. So it'll be really fun as we get into the center of this. That's where all the colors are, and you get the R2-D2 and C-3PO in there. It'll be fun. And frankly, I think the greens will be really fun to stitch too, just because color, right? This is the same fabric I'm stitching my turkey on, also from Cottage Garden Threads. I have a couple of those going. All right. 3 more to show you. Only one more. Oh, only 2 more of the SciFi though. So this one, I have a start on. It's a small start. It almost barely counts. I will use the board for this actually. W Stitching Land E is, it's called Starry Night. And there's no, I haven't actually seen this one stitched. It's just a mock-up of what it will be like. But I thought it was so neat. And it made me think of, there's this video game called Outer Worlds. And it just kind of has that retro color, full coverage. I don't know. It's great. I really like it. And I had started it on a different fabric and I did not care for that. It was just randomly chosen because it's full coverage. You're not really going to see what it's stitched on other than perhaps in a frame around the edges. But I actually bought this fabric for a mermaid and the mermaid didn't work out on it. So I ripped out, if you look closely, you can see where I had previously stitched and started over with my Starry Night. So not a big start. But it'll be really fun to get some working on this because it's been ages since I worked on it. And I really like it. I'd like it to be, you know, amongst my gallery. It would be so fun to have a little sci-fi section. All right, the last one, I had to find a way to get a fancy lady in, right? I mean, you can't go a month without stitching a fancy lady. So, Stargazer couldn't be more appropriate. And just for kicks, I'll show you where I am. I'm stitching it on a 32 count mystery linen. It's just a solid. Oh, she's so pretty. I forgot how far I was on her. Oh man. Oh, she's beautiful. She's fun. I don't actually have the beads for her yet, but once I get this kick pleat that she has done, I'll be ready for them. So maybe she gets 3 days. We'll see what I can accomplish with her. Oh, it's fun to pull her out again. She's beautiful. All right, so that's my 8 SciFi projects. It'll be super fun. There are so many out there. Honestly, I could have gone, you know, the horror movie Alien or whatever, but I was trying to think, what would I actually want on my wall? Some things are so fun to stitch, but they would probably just stay like in a box. They wouldn't ever become anything. And that's not bad, actually. I have a couple of projects that I think would just be really fun to stitch that I don't really have they don't fit my aesthetic, if you will. And so they would probably never make it onto a wall, or I don't know, but they would be fun to stitch nonetheless. Okay. Anyways, my 2 Christmas projects, I'll just show you those really quick. Actually, the one is, actually no, we'll skip it. You will just be held in suspense for the next video, and then I'll show you what Christmas projects I chose. Yes, that's how we're gonna play this. Okay, let me check on my notes. Yes. Oh, yes, a couple of shout outs. So I found 2 new, first of all, thank you to those who have shouted me out in your videos. I had not checked in a while, and I actually had a few videos to catch up on. A couple of them are people I watch regularly, and a couple of them were new to me. And thank you so much for your kind words and for mentioning my channel in your videos. I really appreciate it, and it's always fun to find new people through that method too. So one of them shouted me out, and so I watched her, and oh my goodness, she's pretty new to Flosstube. I think she only had a couple of videos, and I've already mentioned her. That was Beth from Morvant Made. I'll put her information down in the bottom so you can go check her out too, because she was delightful. She was so cute, and I loved her energy, and her projects were great. They were so fun. So definitely check her out. And the next one I just kind of happened upon. You know, sometimes I tend to scroll, and I'll keep up on my regulars, but then I watch a lot of people just, you know, off of the recommendations YouTube will toss at me, or in the sidebar when I've watched something. And that's how I found Lindsay from Cat Fur and Cross Stitch. She had a whip parade, and then she has a second video up now. I believe I've watched both of them, and man, she is goals. Her stitching is gorgeous, and she's productive, and she is, she has this beautiful gallery wall behind her of all of the Madame Chantilly tiered holiday tray things. I just started the summer one, and oh, they're beautiful. It's just, her stuff was so fun to look at, and I left her video very inspired. So definitely check out Lindsay. And yeah, so I'll just stick with the 2, and then I've got a couple that I'll save for the next video as well. That way I'm not chewing your ear off all day. Yeah, okay. So thank you so much for watching. That's all I've got for you today. But I hope you're having a nice start to the summer. Last week we celebrated the summer solstice, and the longest day of the year has come and gone, and and yeah, it's summer again. We had a really rainy June, which was lovely. I actually don't mind the rain, but it was nice to see the sunshine come back. And it honestly, it was like kismet. It came back with the summer solstice. It's so beautiful. Anyway, so I hope you're having a nice summer. If you've got kiddos, enjoy that time with them. I know it's just from watching my nephews and stuff how busy children can be, and they're only young so long. And summer, I have such fond memories of summers and being a kid, and you know, summer naps and climbing trees and making lakes in my mom's garden for my Barbies to go to the lake in. It was her favorite of my activities. Getting, you know, it's just summer nostalgia. That's what summer is for me. There's so much nostalgia, so many happy times when I was a kid. And hi, baby girl. Anyways, that's the energy I always try to recreate as I go through my summers. I hope you find or create whatever makes summer magic for you. And if you hate summer, because definitely when the temperatures get closer to 100 degrees, my whole song and dance will flip. I'll be like, oh, give me cold weather where I can wear sweaters and cozy blankets and read and drink tea by my window while it rains. I am two-faced, definitely. Anyways, enjoy. I hope you're all well. Take care of yourselves, and I hope you can get some stitching in. I'll see you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.